G'day and welcome to the 77th episode of the Destiny Down Under podcast. I, as the same as the last 76 episodes, am Log Power Slave. And I am joined, as always, by none other than Mylan Games and Real Time Sloth. But this week we've got a very special guest as well, but we'll get to that in a minute. Dudes, how are you doing?
Sloth is dying.
Sloth is dying of aggressive hay fever. Someone threw a cat into his face. So, you alright? Are you going to survive?
I'll be fine. Maybe. I'll be alright.
If not, we have a very special guest that's a friend of ours and has been for a long time. So, Sassi, if you're wondering why there's a pineapple on the screen, because Sassi is actually a pineapple. So we've invited him on this week because we play in the Crucible podcast Crucible Showdown next week, and we're all shit at the game, and he's not. So he's going to give us some pointers. But yeah, welcome, man. Welcome.
Hello, I'm me.
So it's been a mountainous week in Destiny news. I say that every week, and then I think, no, we're going to get a quiet week, and it never happens, ever. So how have we all been? We'll quickly go around the arc and make sure everyone's doing okay. Sloth's got hay fever. I think his outlook on life will probably be diminished by that somewhat. But Matt, how have you been?
Yeah, busy. I haven't played as much Destiny as I really wanted to this week. Yesterday I was like, I need to make a to-do list because I've got so much stuff I need to get done in Destiny at the moment. I haven't sunk the hours in that I would like to. Like, I've got exotics I still need to chase. I've still got like a backlog of the Curse of Osiris where everyone stopped playing. Like, I'm like, you know what? I really should get Saint 14's shotgun. I really should go through all the verses because they all drop at really nice levels. I really need to do Spire of Stars. I need to I've got such a collection list at the moment. It's not even funny. So,
have you got the Polaris Lance yet?
No, I need to get the Polaris Lance. I need to get Sleeper.
You're missing out a piece of lore that I wanted to talk about today.
Whoa, mate! Maybe
he
you
just
can
Googles it all anyway.
Yeah.
Have you read about it?
If it was if the item was available when it went live, when Warmind went live, then yes. If they had locked it behind something, then no. I'll look it up now. So when we get to it, we can talk about it.
Yeah. Spoiler
alert. So yeah, just life busy. So hoping to be back soon.
Fair enough. How have you been, Sass? Aside from carrying me through the raids the other night, you've been well.
I've been good. I finally hit 385 as of reset, which is good because I've only got one character. Me and my crew, we've been doing all the weekly activities, so prestige, all the raids and trials every week. So it's good to have hit max light level.
Absolutely.
But now the competitive grind begins to get Red Ritz's Claymore and Legend eventually, hopefully.
Good luck with that.
Where are you at the moment? I mean, as a dude who can kind of get on and actually comfortably level somewhat.
Well, we're averaging about 300 points a night, which is good, but we've only really played a couple of nights, so we've hit 1,000. Some heroic, I think, is the level. But the teams that we play against have narrowed down into 4 teams. It's we'll either play one of those 4 basically every night.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. You got your
only one of them is
skill-based
from
matchmaking. Me and Matt experienced this last week when we had you in the party. We were just playing absolute sweats for the entire night and just trying to keep up. But I mean that must be a pain in the ass to some extent because it not only affects your load times and all of that and how long it takes you to find lobbies, but I mean, I was kind of surprised that in a ranked playlist that there was still skill-based matchmaking. Like, it kind of seems counterintuitive in a way where you've got to beat people at your level to progress, not just beat people.
It's a weird setup because when we started, we basically, on the very first night that we got together, we ran into, Gigs, like Giggle Monster.
Yep.
From Tier 1. Yeah, we ran into him 5 times in a row, which was not fun. And it was like ended up chatting to them, and we were just discussing it. And because if you've played in the competitive playlist before, I really do feel like your skill, like rating or whatever Bungie has behind it, was kept through. And then all that's happened is that if you played a bunch before and won a bunch, you just start matching each other at the start. So you just cock block each other like for the whole time because no one could get points because you just trade wins.
So yeah, and that's
that
where it
seems
becomes
like
counterintuitive.
Very muchly so, yes.
All right,
Very
Sass. Well, why don't you just describe to anyone who doesn't know you, which there may be people out there that that aren't aware of you and who you are. The Great Southern Backpack, as I like to call you. Any serious endgame content that we've done, you've probably been part of. But to anyone who doesn't know you, mate, how do you describe yourself in your own words?
All right. Well, I'm an ex-competitive Halo player, and I'm more of a PvP guy than a PvE guy. But I'm not a very flashy player. I'm just solid in terms of learning. My specialty, I guess, is learning a game to the fullest extent in terms of what needs to be done or like what you can do. So I do a lot of PvP. PvP is where I have a lot of fun, but I do enjoy doing the end game activities, particularly on the hardest difficulty, because I like the challenge.
I guess the other part of that is, Sass, that you're a pretty good teacher at this sort of stuff too. Because I mean, while a lot of it hasn't sunk in particularly well, with me, there's been a lot of times where I'll play with you and you'll be like, try this, try that, and all of that, and I've learned a lot out of it. I mean, I still suck, but I mean, I'd be even worse if not for that. So
yeah, I've blue lighted as a competitive coach in terms of thought processes. So not really like teaching people how to aim well, more of if you are in X situation and you have X amount of information given to you, what's the best choice to make to like continue forward?
Absolutely.
What would be is there one number one advice that you could give someone that doesn't play PvP very much and just wants to see, some improvement? Is it weapon choice? Is it map knowledge? Is it, build, armor build? Like, is there something that would be your first piece of advice to someone wanting to improve in PvP in Destiny 2?
Positioning on the map is the easiest way. Getting good. Now, positioning is, you can have the worst aim in the world, but if you're positioned on the map correctly, you can do a lot of damage. Yep. So it's all about, so the main goal would be, if someone's looking to improve, the quickest way would be looking at staying alive is the easiest way to do it. Is don't throw away a death for no reason. The way you win a Slayer game is by not dying. It's not about getting kills.
There you go.
I mean, you're not even wrong, because I mean, look at it this way though. So I sort of can somewhat relate to that, not with the skill part of the thing, but map knowledge and placement. So I play a lot of Siege with a few American friends, Rainbow Six Siege, and I have been playing Siege since day dot. I know most of the maps very, very well. And map knowledge and positioning is just, it gives you an extra little bit of a help per se. It gives you that advantage over everyone else.
It will give you a step up in a situation.
Absolutely,
you're trying to put yourself in a situation that when an enemy comes or you're faced with a fight, you're not being surprised, you're expecting them to come. Correct.
Yeah, correct. And I think that's where Log's been learning, because his aim is shit. Anyone who's seen his stream is horrible. It's the same with mine. My aim is friggin' terrible. Anyway, same with Matthew. His aim is terrible. But when we actually play with Aura and Sassi, we tend to gravitate to where those dudes are, if that makes sense, especially in a 6v6 or a 4v4 scenario. And our game gets lifted because they're not necessarily imparting knowledge, but they're like, okay, that's his placement there. All right, maybe next time I should place myself there and just go, oh, okay, this dude's going to come from here. All right, yeah, bang, bang, he's dead.
Yeah. Aura, we mentioned Aura. Aura's my other half, I guess, would be the best way to call it. In the online sense, we've been a duo for like the longest time. And we play off, our play styles are polar opposites, and that works out really, really well. He's the flashy player, he's the aggressor. I'm the guy,
Oh, yeah.
not necessarily standing at the back of the map all the time, but I'm the one that's creating. I create opportunities for Aura to go in and then just destroy.
So I matched against Aura in QP on PC, and
Yeah.
I was having a few good games with like 4-5 KD thereabouts. It came up against Aura. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And he made me look like I was using a controller upside down on left-handed southpaw, and it was, oh my god.
You never want to let him get Acreus because he just won't die.
He, like legitimately, well, no, he was using the boot cannon because I booped him off the edge the first time I saw him, and he's like, boot cannon.
Yeah.
Sass, was everyone in your clan bred in a tube to specifically be good at PvP? I mean, except Et. I don't know why you've taken him in. Is he like an orphan? Or?
The old guard. So we've all come from. Aura's if you remember Halo, Aura's a Slazo player, and he was actually, I think, the first person to actually finish Halo Reach on Legendary All Skulls on by yourself.
Wow.
So he's a Slazo player. And then Gaz and Say, who you might have run into, they're ex Gears of War pros. So, and then we've got a bunch of other. We've got Azure, who I think you might have met, is a speedrunner as well. So, yeah, it's weird. We've all just weirdly come together. We met in D1,
and
we just
in the true Australian spirit, I raided with you this week, and just tearing each other's ass out the entire way, absolutely ripping in on each other. It's glorious.
There is not a moment that one of us is not trying to trash talk someone else.
Yeah, it's just, I just love that about our culture, that it is just literally an hour and a half of just slinging shit at each other. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it gets a bit scary sometimes because when, sometimes we play, with you guys, because we've only really got 4 people on most of the time, so we usually take, you guys or whatever. And then sometimes something happens and then one of you guys gets caught in the crossfire, and we're like, oh, shit. Oh, no, bring it back to us. Start talking trash with each other.
No.
That's the advice. Just try not to die, please.
Oh, yeah. I was talking to Log, and I was just like, look, man, it doesn't even matter if you do 0 damage to the boss, so long as you don't die, we won't care.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, and it's good for me. It's good for me because I get in and I get to learn things without the pressure of having to do. I know it sounds sucky and people will probably judge me for it, but I can go and do the raids now by myself quite comfortably because I know what I'm doing because I've learned them without the pressure of having to do everything at once, which is probably not the way it's intended to be, but it works for me because I'm a silly man.
It works. It's great. It's a really good learning opportunity to be an experience where you don't have to rely on other people. If you know that everyone else is going to do their job, you can focus entirely on what you're doing and then just get it done.
Yeah.
All right.
But the reason that I got Sass on this week, and it's sort of more an introduction thing so that everyone gets to know him, is that from week to week, we're going to be, not week to week, sorry, from maybe monthly, maybe a little bit longer than that, we're going to be either getting Sass on or getting Sass to put together a video that sort of is like a bit of an instructional thing, because the one thing that we as a podcast don't really touch on is improvement as a player. We're, bastions of the average, the 3 of us who are normally hosts. So we're going to get Sass in to kind of give us a little bit of a leg up and, be able to share the knowledge a little bit. And, we can all learn from it in the process. So that's why he's here. That's what he's about. And let's get into the mountain of fucking news that we've got to talk about, gents. What do you reckon?
Yes. A little bit of admin first, ladies and gentlemen, for the podcast side of the things. We are part of the Destiny Podcast Showdown, which is been created by, was it barely a Destiny show that?
No, I thought it was Grenades and Horseshoes.
Grenades and Horseshoes. Yeah, Grenades and Horseshoes. We've been invited in to combat in private matches against the podcast the Destiny podcast community. And our first match is against Barely a Destiny Show. Now, that is Saturday week.
Sunday week for us.
They're also barely a Destiny player as well.
Sunday week. And Log's got some little bit of...
I mean, look, I was all ready to go into this in the right spirit, in that let's all just have some fun. and all of this. And I was, like I listened to barely a Destiny show, and I'm like, they're good. They're like us, like we struggle to talk about Destiny at times too. I relate to it. We ramble on quite a bit, but like on the most recent episode, Scary Internet Guy, one of their cast members over there. Well, I'm just gonna say it straight. He said that Logan is not a good movie, and to me that is like he might as well have just kicked a puppy in the face with adamantium boots. So I'm really upset about it. I'm really upset about it. So now I'm taking it personally, and now I'm gonna kick their fucking ass. So the three of us Titans are gonna fucking jump in, and we're gonna absolutely carve them up. That's why I've been talking to Sass. I need to win this shit. We need to win, just in the sake of I'm doing it for Hugh Jackman at this point. Yeah. We're doing it for Hugh Jackman. Are we good?
I feel like there needs to be like some bets made.
Well,
are we making bets?
I think we can make bets. What do you want to bet?
Well, I feel like do they stream their podcast as well?
I think so. Yeah, they do. Yeah,
like wearing pink outfits or something embarrassing. If the losing team
get your significant other to do your makeup, and then you have to do the podcast in makeup.
Oh, dude, no,
I'm calling you out. Barely a Destiny show. Is that if you lose, you have to get your significant other or sister or person who does makeup to do your makeup, to do a pretty princess show of your next.
Oh, fucking hell, man. I don't even know if I'm ready for that, but no, we're in. It's happening. What have we done?
Let's not talk it over anything, Sloth.
Yeah, let's
Matt's
it's
sweating
cool.
in his chair because he knows Danny's just going to go nuts.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Rachel absolutely carved me up. I'll be looking like an East European prostitute in no time. But hey, there is the gauntlet should you choose to accept it. And don't go around insulting fucking Wolverine movies because it makes me mad. There we go.
Right.
All right, now.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the breaking news is from the Bungie sides of things is that they have had an investment. They've sold a minority share of the company for an investment, $100 million investment to a Chinese online gaming firm called NetEase. Now, they've assured us that the game won't change. Their commitment to D2 won't change. Basically, from what I've gathered from NetEase is they're in a regional partnership with Blizzard, and because Activision Blizzard are in Bungie, they are basically just opening up the market to the Chinese community, opening up Bungie to the Chinese community. At the moment, NetEase operates the international online games in mainland China, including World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, StarCraft 2, Diablo 2, and Diablo 3, and Overwatch. So I can't really see, someone came into the chat at the very top of the stream and saying, I think it's a bad idea. I think they're pulling resources away from Destiny 2. Well, no, not really. They're just opening up a market.
Well, Slothy, they have said in there that they are going to work on a future self-release title with, this is part of the investment. But I mean, that's Bungie's prerogative anyway. I don't think Activision at any point are going to go, you know what, you can go and do whatever you want now and not worry about Destiny. And I don't think Bungie are the kind of company who are going to do that because they take great pride in their work quite clearly. So I think
absolutely.
I don't know. I mean, I woke up to Reddit fucking exploding and committing ritual suicide, this morning about this, and I went, oh, holy shit, like what's happened? And then when I read the article, it was like, fuck, people carry on about nothing. Like realistically, this is a business. This is a fucking huge business, and you've got people there going, "Oh, this is why Destiny 2 is shit because they're trying to run it into the ground because they've got this other deal." And I'm like, what? So you're saying they're committing industrial espionage is what you think is really happening here?
They're committing seppuku to their own IP.
Yeah, sure, I can see that.
Please.
There's nothing wrong with a little friendly euthanasia.
Come at me. That is the fucking dumbest thing that I have ever heard that a company would fucking
That was on Twitter. That was on Twitter, Sloth. That wasn't even on Reddit.
Well, sorry. The person who stated that, legitimately, tweet at me. Tweet at me. At Real-Time Sloth. You need to be put in your fucking place. Now, anyway, moving onwards. Destiny 2 news, the year to reveal. Tuesday, June 5th, 9 a.m. Pacific, which is like 3 a.m., 2 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, on the Bungie website, on twitch.tv/Bungie. New roadmap, changes to Guardian lifestyle, amazingly emotive yet vague Deegeness.
So, I mean, the image.
Sorry, I do respect Deej's ability to say so much and not say anything at all. Like every time one of these things come out, I just go, "He's the man." Like he's
obviously
just the man.
The real image is reef related.
Totally.
Yes. So what we've got here in our little information roadmap that Log has put up is that potential leaks are the storyline revolves around Aldrin resurfacing with an army of fallen soldiers to rescue his sister.
Yeah, we need to go through this and either
sister from the 9.
Call bullshit on.
All right, can I was Mylan?
Yes.
Why is it that the grimoire for Prince Aldrin crashing and the Warmind thingy where you find Aldrin's plane, why are they in different places? Or is
do you
that
mean different places on Mars? Is that what you mean? Because did it say the specific? I haven't read the you're talking about the Age of Triumph Grimoire card with Prince Aldrin. What area did it say that he crashed in?
Somewhere starting with U, which is not Hellas Basin.
So it's a complete look. I haven't looked into the exact area that he crashed. That's probably a
Not
mistake.
get into inconsistencies in the fucking grimoire.
I'm interested. I will look that up for a quick second. We'll get back to that with the Polaris Lance and stuff.
Right.
But
so Slothy and I, with a great deal of cynicism, in the meantime, we'll go through the 4chan leaks and probably that's what it is. That's where this has come from. And yeah, we'll go through it and then we'll discuss it at the end because I think we've all got the same view of whether or not it's fucking real or not. But so the story that is in this is that the storyline revolves around Aldrin resurfacing with an army of fallen soldiers to rescue his sister from the 9. The 9 apparently have his sister. The 9 are forced to unleash the Nastareth to stop Aldrin's army. Brand new race of void demons. Nastareth are led by Nazarek. There he is. Yep, right. Good. The main antagonist of the expansion, beside Aldrin. Nazarek is a former 10th member of the 9, which I assume they were then called the 10. I don't know. I don't know.
So
pretty safe assumption.
Right, okay.
If we're going to kill Nastareth, does that mean they become the 8? And then the 7?
Well, I mean, if more members leave, I suppose it's... I don't know. They should have called their band Slipknot. It would have been more appropriate. The expansion, the new raid, is called Tombs of Eternity and revolves around stopping Nazarek for good, which sounds good, I suppose. And the 9 are met during the expansion's campaign and help you stop Nazarek, which seems counterproductive given that they've sent him to fight you.
So from what I can gather out of this is that the Prince Aldrin has posed so much of a threat of the 9, then they've gone to their absolute last resort. Let's unleash an entire race of void demons that may or may not stop him, and then fuck everything else up.
I don't know.
I think it's all rubbish. I think we've seen this sort of time and time again now. Like people are pretty clued in the lore, and they pick like a couple of hot topics. Like Aldrin's obviously a massive hot topic. You combine that with the image of the reef. I think it was pretty predictable that we would probably see something. The foreshadowing, finding Prince Aldrin's ship on Mars again. Still nothing from him. The Queen hasn't come back yet. Nastareth, obviously, like a really easy topic to pick because it's only ever mentioned once. And if you don't remember, Nastareth was a word that one of the Hive mentioned when they were torturing them in the Prison of Elders. If you remember I think it was Age of Triumph. When did we get taken armor? I think it was Age of Triumph.
Yeah.
No, basically.
No, it was before that.
Yes, yeah. It was Taken Armor was Rosalind.
Was it Age of Triumph?
Quite sure.
Oh, was Horizon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought, it was the Eververse. Oh no.
Yeah,
I said the E word.
No, we
The
don't talk about that on this
Eververse
podcast.
Right, so
it was that armor from Rise of Iron.
They basically caught the Taken and experimented on them, and one of them was like in pain. It was like blessed Nastareth, and that's like the only time it's ever fucking said in the whole of the lore. And then like, you know, it's an N word and sounds similar to Nazareth, so we'll like link those together. And yeah, I think it's crap. That's my
good
take from it.
Yeah, I mean,
Can we just go into the Twitch chat right now? Monkey King, he's like, it's from Psylocke the Defiled Grimoire, and then he goes, correction, Psylocke.
Psylocke.
yeah, no, that was good.
Oh, I can't believe I missed that. Yep.
Oh, man. Good stuff.
Good stuff. Well, we got our value out of that thanks to the Monkey King.
The nine's going to be way further away. Like, I don't think they haven't even brought back the darkness and any of that kind of stuff yet. I don't feel like
they could be doing what they did in Warmind, where it's just like, hey, look, Worm God. Okay, goodbye, Worm God. Bye.
Yeah, that's true. There could be like a very small snippet. Yeah, that is true. There could be a very small snippet of the nine, but I think they probably would take this opportunity to explore Aldrin, the Fallen, and the Queen of the Reef.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. We haven't really, you know, we've been to the Reef in Destiny 1, but there's still a whole society there that we've not really had all that much to do with, right? There's a hell of a lot that we could, you know, and especially if Uldren's, you know, raising this army of Fallen, which is kind of alluded to anyway in the old cards, like that he kick some Fallen leader's ass. I can't remember it, Matt. It's more your thing than mine, but
the House of Kings, like he basically takes down.
Yeah, so it's looking like he's going to end up being the kettle of that.
Wasn't it also hinted that Aldrin is controlling the House of Kings. The purple one in Destiny 2? No, the purple one in Destiny 2. The new one.
Yeah.
The conglomerate.
House of Dusk.
Dusk, yeah, that's it.
Which, by the way, it's not actually mentioned anywhere. That's actually in like the data mine stuff. House of Dusk. I don't think the House of Dusk was actually mentioned in game.
Ooh,
well, I mean,
treacherous ground.
Either way, like this is all hearsay and conjecture at the moment. It's always good to see people, even if it's completely like not the case and they've only just cherry picked some information. I mean, well done to the person who they actually have some imagination and at looking at this, like Nastareth, Nezarek, Nezarek. That's cool as frick. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah,
you know, like more power to them. That is really cool. Like, that's really good imagination.
We're gonna treat you like it's your year 6 fucking homework, and you had to do a creative writing exercise, not a leak. So if you wrote this and you're out there and you're willing to admit it,
legitimately,
you can come on next week, right? Good job.
Don't reward this behavior.
I'm reading the leaks, and it's like the expansion's new raid is called Tomb of Eternity. That just sounds so damn cool.
I know, like there's parts of it that are cool. That's the thing.
Like, wow, Tomb of Eternity.
It's a very cool name, and like even if, like I said, even if this is just a little bit of creative writing to get the people frothing for information until the 5th. You know, like that's still cool as freak.
I will
like it really is. Like, that's awesome. I like really awesome.
Hang on. I'm going to draw a line through a few things that we've touched on already in the podcast. Who is the greatest person we know at writing things without really saying anything?
Deej.
All eyes.
Right. So if Deej put his pencil down to creatively write something, what could he do?
Can confirm.
No, I don't even think he's leaking anything. I think he's just making shit up and going, guess what? People will love this shit. I'm going to put it out there on my 4chan.
You know,
that's just like, what was it? Was it CJ Barrett that was trolling Matt when he came into doing all the Rasputin stuff before Warmind dropped?
I mean, that was a crazy time.
Yeah, but it wasn't really a troll. It ended up being proper stuff.
Yeah,
but that was for the code.
End of the day, it's a little bit of creative writing, and like, if it comes true, it comes true. If it doesn't come true, well, I mean, people enjoyed it, and don't jump on this person's neck because they may not have every information. It's a leak on 4chan. Guys, it is a
Yeah.
leak on 4chan. Relax.
This is
And
right.
it's also like a couple of days before E3 where leaks are actually everywhere
Yes.
for everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
fucking,
masterstroke. They've done well, whoever's done it.
Destiny's move. Like, I've got a leak for you. Destiny's moving to the Nintendo Switch. There you go. It's a leak, fresh from me.
Yeah.
All right.
Destiny's going to the mobile, can confirm. That's from that Chinese thing, right? Yeah.
Right.
He
All right,
plays
so
a ghost.
anyway, faction rally. So a little bit more into this week at Bungie, the faction rallies. So that his
Congratulations, Dead Orbit, for the win.
Congratulations, Dead Orbit. You have now won the faction rally from now into eternity because
I cry inside.
everyone will want the Dead Orb, the Graviton Lance Catalyst. I mean,
Can I just say that it won't actually change anything to the gun? Because the gun doesn't have any range. Like, the whole point of the Graviton Lance is that it has no damage drop-off. So range is not going to do anything. It's only going to help console people. But
what does a catalyst do? What's a catalyst for Graviton Lance?
it's like aim assist. It gives you hidden hand, plus 20 range, plus 10 like stability or something like that. I don't know. Oh, that's off the top of my head. I have it in the sweatshop. Oh, that's my that's the Discord in Chanel.
all right. Well, if you want to bring if you want to bring that up, then anyway. So pledging to a faction should be a meaningful choice. So players may now only pledge to one faction per account during a faction rallies event.
What do you reckon about that, dudes? What do you reckon about that?
I always pledge to New Monarchy anyway. It doesn't matter.
I was always Dead Orbit, so I don't care.
Look, I think it's good, right, that you can only pledge once per account, and I sort of feel like there is incentive now, but I feel like the incentive is nothing to do with the faction. Do you know, like,
it's to do with the rewards? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know, like, I still want to see like a blend of like incentive that's actually like related to Dead Orbit. Like, hey, like I don't just want to get Graviton Lance. Like I'm a Dead Orbit like enthusiast. I don't know what that looks like, but I think it's a step in the right direction to give these big incentives at the end of it, with the catalyst at least. But I still feel like the catalysts are driving your pledge. So my criticism is, well, does that make faction rally more meaningful? Not really. Yeah. It means people don't really care about the faction; they care about the rewards.
All right. So
you know what? Like before you go into that, Sassi, you know why I pledged to Dead Orbit, guys? Dead Orbit, New Monarchy. You know why I pledged to New Monarchy? I pledged to New Monarchy because I believe that they are the best thing for the tower and the tower commanders and all that sort of thing. And I'm also a little tiny bit of a monarchist in real life as well. The monarchy.
Also, their shaders look
fucking hell. Let's all just pin that up on a poster and call it, like under the heading "Things People Don't Give a Shit About." Sloth. Good job.
I'm not gonna lie though, New Monarchy shaders look amazing.
I don't know.
Have you seen Aura's Titan? It's like that marble red with the gold trim. It's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. The new.
You know what?
Looks
I was trying to bring Matt's point into it. There's a reason why I do it, but you know what? Go fuck yourself, Log.
I support Dead Orbit because they wear black. So
yeah, that's what I picked. I mean, black and white. Got to go neutral.
All right. So reputation progress is retained through multiple events. It will not be reset during the season, even if a player changes allegiance. Each faction offers unique rewards such as exotic armor ornaments or masterwork catalysts for exotic weapons, and we are planning to host 3 faction rallies over the events of Season 3.
Hang on.
You can get
hang on. There's a sentence in there. Even if a player changes allegiance.
Yeah, between events.
So if everyone hammers it for the first one, gets the Graviton Lance ornament, or
and then
fucking catalyst, and then it's a free for all again. So really, it'll really only be until then. Is there a penalty for changing your allegiance?
I don't know. Doesn't seem to be. It doesn't seem to have one. So Sassi, what's this catalyst? What are the catalysts supposed to do for the Sweet Business, for New Monarchy, Sunshot for Future War Cult, and the Graviton Crutch? Graviton Lance for.
No, it is definitely a crutch, man. Like,
yeah.
All right, so apparently you get them all from hitting rank 50. Graviton Lance is plus 20 range and plus 15 aim assist with hidden hand, so that's better stickiness. It's going to become more sticky, I guess, is like the crux of it.
Yep.
Sunshot is plus 30 range and plus 20 stability, so it's going to become a PvE god. Like, that's going to be amazing in PvE.
Yeah.
And then Sweet Business is when this weapon is fully spun up, the flinch from incoming damage is greatly reduced. So, useless.
I like that.
Oh,
no,
okay.
it's not necessarily useless.
Why do you
Like
say useless?
if you
Actually,
were...
Sweet Business with Lunar Faction boots is going to be disgusting.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. New Sweet Business Lunar Faction boots, rounds.
Just imagine that Lunar Faction boot with like High Kalos Sniper as well. It's like hello boss damage.
Do you know what I want to see? I just want to see like a PvP map with like 4 people standing back to back in a bloody Warlock Rift, just with it spun up and just shooting in every direction.
Like the Spartan phalanx of shields. Just
You've got it's 4v4. It's the last round of trials, and you've got to capture the point. You get there first. Lunar Faction boots. 4 Sweet Businesses done. You're not going.
Wait until you see the light whites of their eyes.
Blow the whistle, run.
So it's good. It's the gear looks quite good. Just going through the pages now. The new Monarchy stuff actually looks really, really good. The Future War Cult looks good too for what it is.
Dude.
Well, let's go through and fashion critique each of them. That's what I think.
I don't like the new Dead Orbit look, how it's got like that khaki green in it. It's
man, I'm a bit off it. I won't lie. Like I'm not overly worried about that. I like the mark because it's just black and white as it always was. But I had a good argument on Twitter yesterday with Tower, who's a staunch Future War Cult man.
Because he's a nonce.
As he likes clown shaders, but whatever. He said, it's good to see Dead Orbiter finally, actually got a colour in their armour rather than just the 2 hues that they normally have. So it's good to see them expanding their horizons nonetheless. Moving on to new Monarchy. That looks like doilies, Sloth. It looks like my grandma's doilies and Persian rugs and just badness.
It does. It looks pretty cool though. Not my taste.
Faction Rally should provide a unique gameplay experience and not simply be a reward layer for the top of the existing game. Additionally, these events should build interest in lost sectors, armor ornament objectives. So Faction Rallies now features the Renown system. After pledging to a faction, players may earn Renown by completing public event or patrol, or by defeating higher value targets on destinations. Players who loot a lost sector with Renown active will receive significantly more faction tokens than usual. The more stacks of Renown they have, the more faction tokens they earn. Renown is lost when players are defeated by enemies, so be careful when you're attempting to loot a lost sector with high Renown. So,
quote unquote, significantly more like 2 more tokens, maybe.
2 in a blue.
Maybe and a blue.
You know what? Like, just looking at this now. So if you've got full stack of Renown, health regeneration is vastly reduced. Enemy kills have a chance to drop health orbs. Player damage is decreased with scales. The scales that stack up to 5, and incoming player damage is increased. Scales with stack up to 5. So
I wonder how many you can stack.
Difficult.
I wonder
It looks like 5. It looks like 5.
So the top 2 say all stack levels. So maybe you could go even higher.
So as soon as you go into, or as soon as you activate a public event, or as soon as you go into a lost sector, there's probably a debuff and a buff that comes up and says,
Renown stacks.
Renown stacks or something like that. And you've got 5, and you've got that actually
makes no sense, because the more renowned you get, the weaker you are.
Yeah,
but that's it. And then the greater reward
it's like it's more of a challenge, but I'm just
more of a challenge, which is a
hey,
good
look,
thing
I'm more famous, but I do no damage now. That's like going into Nightfall and forgetting you have minus 75 power level, and then you get 1 hit by a thrall. Totally didn't happen.
Or going into a Nightfall and get with minus 75 power level and getting 1 shot by a Hoop Goblin.
It wasn't even a hobgoblin, it was just a goblin, man.
We did. I did that,
and it was
accidentally
minus
'cause I was-
75 off your power level, I think, and I'm 30 behind you, so I got smoked.
Yeah, we did that in the first week. So we were like, "Why has everything got question marks?
Yeah.
Why are we dying in one hit?"
I want to know why
Yeah,
there hasn't
so-
been a community pop up around that, like people who just do the bullshit hard nightfalls, like minus
I'm sure
75s.
that there
And
is. I'm sure that there is.
I want to see
So
more of
is.
that.
people in chat are saying so faction gear makes us suck. It seems to be it's like it just makes it difficult, and that's what a lot of people were asking for is more difficult things. Like it, you remember the first faction rally where people just dipping in and out of that one in bloody IO or wherever.
Oh
the frick
no, it was on Titan.
Tight.
It was Doc 19 or something like that. Can't remember doing that.
Oh,
'cause
there,
I
was
had to do
also
it.
like
the,
that.
there was also the
You
glitch
get-
on
you
Earth
get-
where you could run through the
Yeah.
back of the same one over and,
And
over
then there was
again.
Yeah,
the week.
500 in an hour or something like that. Like, I'm glad that they've made it difficult. You actually need to grind it to get the rewards. And anyone who can get level 50 and just constantly playing it, like depending on how many faction tokens you get per lost sector, I reckon level 50 is going to be quite hard to get, and you've got to play the
That's
game
what,
to get it.
2,000 tokens. Ish.
There or thereabouts, yeah. Like it depends on how many you get per drop, and everyone's going to be going to dead orbit, and that's fine. But I'm not sure how many people are going to be getting the catalyst. Because
I mean,
might be
dude,
very,
you're going to have
very
to be
difficult.
prepared to grind. You're going to have to be prepared
Yeah.
to grind, and you're going to have to
It's
be
going to be a
prepared
commitment.
to play at that higher renown level to get better rewards to make the most of your time. Like, there's going to be no breeze in it. You're going to need to find your level and gun through it. And I kind of like that, because the thing that a lot of the criticisms about Destiny that we do see are either, oh, it's punishingly hard, or oh, it's too casual and it's too easy. This, you make the fucking rules yourself, and you go in there and you ultimately change them to where you are comfortable, or you're challenged but not punished, and go for
The
it.
breakpoint's going to be, is the renowned rewards worth it?
Yeah.
In the increased amount of time it takes to do the lost center compared to canning yourself and then just running through it again.
Yeah, you're true. I mean,
So
we'll have to wait and see.
It all looks like they've what people are saying in chat and what is crossing my mind is risk versus reward. If you want to go for the top tier stuff, you've got to get into a fire team of 3, and you've got to grind that shit like a stripper with kids to feed. You've got to grind it. It's really.
I know I'm going to be going for it. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'll be going for I don't use the Graviton Lance because I have a Vendetta against it, but I reckon I'll be going for that. But
I
just want all
don't
the
use
dead orbit
Graviton
stuff,
Lance
so.
because it bores me, and the sound. It sounds weird.
It
sounds weird.
so good. Now it's
Now it sounds weird. But anyway,
It's
that's
like anything, you hear
beside
it
the
too
point.
much and it makes you get sick of it. The other thing about Renown is it gives you an awesome glowing thing on the back of your head.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. And I will say this, Sloth, the new Monarchy one of them is by far the best. It's got like the radiant wings coming up behind the emblem.
The Future War Cult is a close second.
Yeah,
Dead
it
Orbit's
looks
just-
like
yeah.
it's something that you'd see out the front of a strip joint with neon lights.
Dead Orbit just looks like the Windows loading symbol from back in the day.
Oh my god. Oh, do you guys remember from Destiny 1 that Future War Cult helmet, the Hunter helmet that had like the Future War Cult thing go across the visor?
Yeah.
That looks so good. I want that to come back. This is just like completely off topic, by the way.
All right,
That's
so
fine.
Log, if you want to
I'm
get into the
waiting.
lab work,
I'm waiting to see like a montage of people running over like dead orbit with sparrows or pushing them off edges so they lose their renown and stuff like that. Just
just as a
like
backlash.
the ultimate faction wars where you see like a dead orbit player
I
and you
honestly
just like go,
feel...
fuck it, get your sparrow
Yeah.
out, just drive
You know what?
right off.
you know what? That actually doesn't sound like a bad thing to do, Matt. I know that you're being facetious at the moment, but imagine a Crucible mode during the faction rallies where you only match with, say, for me, New Monarchy. Like if Log Sassi Night, Sassi for whatever reason goes Future War Cult, and you go Future War Cult, you and Sassi can match together. Log and I can't match with either of you guys to be in a team, but we can match against each other. Does that make sense?
That would be awesome.
No,
Aura goes New Monarchy 24/7, so
I want to see like a proper faction war. Like, imagine if they just gave Graviton Lance, it affects players, right? So you could just boot people into walls and like push them off edges so you could stop their renown
Do
grind.
you mean tractor cannon?
No, tractor. Yeah, like
Tractor
if you could
cannon,
actually
sorry,
bump
what
each
did I
other.
say?
If friendly fire was a thing, I would be the most hated player. Can confirm. I'd
Yeah.
either
Same.
shoot people up tractor cannon, res people only to snipe them like as soon as they come back up.
Well, see, that's why you couldn't make it like you couldn't make, public events PvP versus PvE. You couldn't make it like completely friendly fire because it would just be constantly a PvP zone, unless it was only friendly fire like against other factions. Like imagine if
That'd be funny.
like you could only kill Dead Orbit and Future War Cult if you were New Monarchy.
If
I
you were
can
in
tell
that
that
renowned
would
mode.
devolve. That would devolve into a Reddit post where someone say, "I got spawn killed by Dead Orbit for 5 minutes, for like 5 hours or something."
Well, that I don't know. I would love like when I think of like a faction rally, that's sort of what I think about. Is
Yeah.
like a proper like, if you're gonna put a target on someone's back, like at least you like make it so you can do like. What's the point of having these on players? So you can see who they support, but like you can't grief them or anything like that.
Yeah, I feel for the
I
the
love
guns.
I love how we automatically jump to how we could grief people about their choice of faction.
I feel for. I'm just gonna throw this out there. I feel for Future War Cult because you look at like the exclusive guns. So the Dead Orbit gets the shoddy, that looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
New Monarchy gets a rocket, that also looks pretty good. Future War Cult gets this tiny little sidearm. Probably does no damage.
It looks like a water pistol.
It is a water pistol. It's a
Well, I
it's
mean,
a
you
normal
say
one,
that.
so that'd be a triple burster.
You say
And they
that,
suck.
but I mean, wasn't the Wormwood a fucking Future War Cult
Only
sidearm?
because it had no other options at the time.
Yeah, true.
But like,
True.
yeah. But anyway, Log, if you want to get into the Crucible Labs, let's move into the crux, the crux
I have a
of the
vendetta
labs.
against
Mum.
Crystal Labs.
Actually, just one last thing. What is the Dead Orbit symbol meant to be? What?
Snake.
A key.
Because like just with the thing and like back me up here, right? Just hear me out. You go on the TWAB if you're listening to this, go on the TWAB. It looks like a house tap with water coming out of it.
Oh, it's
Actually,
supposed
it
to be.
Turn the tap on.
I
What?
believe it's supposed to be the representation of something like an Ahamkara and then a sword stabbing the traveler because they're completely against.
Oh,
Working
you're talking
with the
about a
traveler.
different thing, Sass. I'm talking about the glowing things on the back of the heads. It looks
Oh,
like tap
I'm
turning.
talking about the logo.
Yeah,
Oops.
no.
Sorry. Okay. No. The thing on the back of the heads, it's just a symbol, and it's a Dead Orbit loading.
Right. Loading your gravitron
Yeah, I don't know.
lands.
I don't know.
All right, so Crucible Labs launched this week, and it launched with a game mode that is, receiving a bit of positive and negative feedback in Showdown. They have acknowledged in the TWAB that basically they started out pretty simple with what Labs is capable of. That we haven't seen all that much yet with the new game mode. It's pretty bare bones, and as they go and as they grow in confidence with it and comfort with it, that it will become a more expansive experience, I suppose is the word, and there will be more extreme tests conducted. So I don't know. I mean, Sloth, you've probably had more time to play that than anyone else. So I'm not sure if you've had a chance to duck in there yet, Sassy.
I have.
What did you guys think of the game mode? I've only played one game and I didn't play for very long, so I don't have all that much to say.
It's not a new game mode. If you played doubles, Showdown was the doubles playlist game mode. So it's not even new. It's just 4v4.
But it's a 4v4, so it's new in that respect, as in like having more people in. It seems like it could be good for comp, less for trials, but good for comp because competition, as far as I'm concerned, the comp matches need to go for a while. They need to go longer than trials because you're playing for you're not playing for a specific reward. Well, some people might be, but some people might be playing to flex their PvP-ness. Trials you're playing to get to the lighthouse, but for a comp map, for a comp game type, I actually really enjoy it. When I was playing it, I was like, yeah, I mean, I can see the goods and the bads of it. As Sassi said, it's basically just a 4v4 version of the doubles thing. However, I know that they were starting off small, but I kind of wish that they would have started with, I don't know, bringing
Something big. Rift.
Rift. For goodness sake, like I would have loved to see Rift come back in some way, shape, or form.
Or Mayhem or
However,
something like that.
well, it's not even that. But
Actually,
like,
no, Mayhem already exists in D2.
A lot of people's complaints were, I thought they were going to be testing sandbox changes and all this sort of thing. Now,
Yeah.
it's not a separate entity from D2. It's not like the PTR for PUBG. It's not like the PTB for Dead by Daylight. It's not like the test realm for Overwatch. It's in the game itself. So I can't really see how they're going to do sandbox changes only in that little area of it. I don't know how they're going to separate that.
I don't know. Yeah, that's a good point. Do you reckon then that Crucible Labs is going to be like game modes rather than sandbox? Or what did they say specifically?
It will be game modes. So
I think it's going to be game modes. Like
it will
I don't
just
think
be
it.
game modes,
I don't think it's going to be sandbox.
As far as I'm aware, it's just going to be either doing new game modes entirely or tweaks to current game modes that people may not like.
Okay.
No, but like a lot of people were under the misinterpretation or they absolutely misconstrued the information that was given by Bungie, which I believe that I also perpetuated as well. Both
a lot of people believe that Crucible Labs would be PTR.
Yeah, that was my fault, and I do greatly apologise for that. But if they're going to do a testing type of thing, I think you should be able to opt into it, and it's a separate download of just Crucible only in the sandbox changes. Whether it's private matches or matches like a matchmaking and all that sort of thing, if they're going to test it, it should be a separate download that people can opt into as a PTR, PTB. You know, all that
I guess, I don't know. I get the feeling that they couldn't do that, and this was like, you know, the next best thing was at least we can have something where we can, because looking at the 12, it's like very feedback orientated, you know, and there was nothing dramatic about the new mode that they released, but I assume that they just wanted to make sure people can just, you know, before they did anything too crazy, make sure people can get
it's
like establish it as a way of testing things. Because if you actually look at what they've asked for, I mean, I don't remember being given discussion topics like this before for giving feedback. Like, what do you think about it? Was anything confusing? Did you see, like, I think this is a lesson learned from the summit in regards to how they get feedback and having like very direct questions on, hey, we released this thing. We didn't give you much information about it. We just chucked you in there. Now we want to get this feedback and we're going to do something with it. So, you know, I 100% hear what you're saying, Sloth, is like, you know, it's not a PTR, and it's just going to be, it seems like it's just going to be game modes, and you should have to maybe opt into it. But I also like that it is encouraging, because the whole point, like, if they've got this lab works there, it means there's an expectation now that you keep putting different modes in front of us, right?
Yeah, at a rate of one a week.
Do you know? Like I'm expecting now the expectation is we start seeing different modes all the time in there, and we can essentially impact what modes we get in Destiny 2, which is cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the thing that I suppose that in implementing sandbox changes to on the other side of the coin, implementing sandbox changes into a public forum to go, what do you guys think of this? There is a very vocal minority of PvP players who are like, oh, you need to fix it, it's broken, and like all that sort of thing. Like, it could very muchly, and I've spoken about this on my own cast and here on the podcast as well, but if certain minorities get their claws into Bungie and they say, you need to change this without any oversight from the rest of the community, and trust me, it needs oversight, we could end up with another broken PvE type situation with what happened with Red Death in D1.
Well, like this is this thing, right? Like, getting feedback from a large community is extremely challenging, and you know, and filtering out what represents a minority, what represents the most, and looking at what's important and stuff. I mean, you already look at the backlash that happened from the summit with people going, you know, streamers and YouTubers ruined Destiny 2, right? That's gonna
Oh,
happen.
my
That's gonna
goodness,
happen
yes.
with this kind of stuff too.
Oh, Matt, I
cool.
didn't have the laugh track ready. You should have
Uh,
told me.
Well, it's,
But
I totally agree with
You're
that.
not
that's
even
the
you're
point,
not
right?
even
That's the
wrong though.
point here, right? That's the sort of what Slots bring up is like, you know, okay, this is the first step in getting feedback. Like there needs to be a system behind that, and like, because typically what you do, right? If you get feedback, what you do is you actually, like, it's called member checking. You reflect it back to the audience. Okay, so hey guys, we asked you these questions. This is what you told us. This is what we're thinking. Is that right? And everyone's like, no, that's fucking wrong. Or like, yeah, that's what we mean. So like, you know, there needs to be some checks in place. Like, okay, this is the first part of getting feedback, and there's like 2, 3, 4, 5 checks after that to say, okay, this is what we've heard. Have we heard correctly? And this is what we're planning on doing. It's just, you know, right thing. And then there's also the point that like sometimes people don't know what they fucking want, right? If you listen to like some of the biggest, I don't know if you guys, this is off track, but if you've listened to like Steve Jobs and stuff, he's like, people don't fucking know what they want. They're idiots, right? I'm going to tell them what they want. I'm going to make the best product on the face of this planet. And then people realize, oh, I didn't realize I needed my phone to do all this shit. I didn't realize.
And then people end up with the fucking iPhone, which is a pile of poo anyway. Anyway,
Oh, stop it. It's about innovation.
Look,
I know, I'm just being a shit.
the point is, sometimes people don't know what they want. And there is a balance between taking feedback and doing what you think creatively and what you think is the best for the franchise. It needs to rest on Bungie's shoulders and rest on directors, rest on, you know, the guys working on the cold face who are like, yep, we heard this, we did this, but we don't know if that's the right, you know. And that's
this is the thing.
human comes into it.
We've said this on multiple occasions across many places, is that the Destiny community is probably the most bipolar fucking community on the face of the planet.
Mate, and it never ceases to amaze me. But,
but it's legit.
Think about it this way. Think about this.
Like, we don't know what we want, and I'm not pointing the fingers at anyone because I'm also in the same boat. Yep. I think we all are, but we are. Like we go, we want this, and then they give us this, and they're just like, oh, no, we didn't want this. Like case in point with the new values in regards to the escalation protocol, like people were just like, people were just like, you know, like it was too difficult. So the old values were waves 1 to 3, 370, waves 4 and 5, 385, waves 6 and 7, 400. Yeah, it was kind of difficult. It really was, and it was supposed to be, but now like people are like. We want it changed. I'm not going to put on my, you know, angry internet voice. But you know, like now it's changed to waves 1 to 3, 370, waves 4 and 5, 380, waves 6 and 7, 385 to make it easier for people. And you know what? I can guarantee you, within a week there will be some fucking post on the Bungie forums or the bloody on Reddit where it goes, it's too easy now. They like Bungie. They can't win.
It's when you've got.
But the really frustrating thing about it is that they implement something and go, "This is what you guys wanted," and then the vocal minority of the community go, "No, this isn't what we wanted." It's like a tweet that I saw from Man at Arms yesterday or today rather. That was he was shaving thoughts with Man at Arms, but he was just like. So he saw someone say you can't be competitive in PvP unless you have a graviton lance. Fucking bullshit, you can't.
Have you seen me stream? I don't use that at all.
I've seen people. I've legitimately seen people who aren't PvP gods, like the dude in the lower right hand corner, but like just normal people who don't use the graviton lance, and they still come out on top of most gunfights because it's not just trying to fucking bludgeon someone because you're in a gunfight with someone. Don't try and bludgeon them to death. Play smart. Like, you know what I mean? Like
the meta doesn't matter until you're facing like top 10% people. Meta doesn't like. I don't care what anyone thinks. The meta doesn't give a crap. You can use whatever you want.
I think that's the way Sass explained the meta to me is probably the best thing that you've ever told me. Basically, that like the meta, it doesn't matter. It makes no difference. It's just like the path of least resistance. That, you know, if you choose to walk that path and play the way, make the game the easiest version of the game that it can be for yourself, you know, so be it. But there's so many other viable options out there that may or may not suit your playstyle better. But, you know, you've got blinkers on and you only investigate, I need a Graviton Lance, so it's the only gun I can use because it's the only one that's viable because that's the meta. You know, the only person you're really mugging is yourself. Like,
Oh,
Really?
for sure.
There are so many good weapons out there. There are so many fun weapons to use. So Log and I
oh, that hay
Bless you,
fever
mate.
though. Gesundheit.
Log and I were playing the other day, and he said, use the Crimson. I was like, yeah, sure. I didn't like it at first. Went on, continued to use the Crimson for a little bit. Actually really enjoyed the Crimson for a wee tad. You know, like, you don't need to use the meta weapons to have fun. For fuck's sake, go in there with the slowest firing hand cannon you can. And if you can hit your shots and actually just have fun with it, guess what? You'll have more fun with it.
Let's get back to Escalation Protocol, right? Which was that basically they made it easier. Now I actually liked how they responded to this, right? Because they collected a lot of feedback about it. But in the end of the day, they stuck. Well, it sounds like they stuck to what their design was, and the design was that 3 people at max level should be out. This will still be a challenging event, but I don't know. You should be able to get through 7 levels. I still think, I don't know. I'm not max level yet, but I don't know if that is really that possible or not. But that's what they said the design goal was, and that the way it was is that it just wasn't achievable, and so they changed it for that reason. So, like, I don't feel like this was a response to all the backlash. Like, they looked at their stats, and it was simple as that people weren't getting to the end in teams of 3 at max level.
I only know of one team through Twitter, because I don't follow everyone on Twitter, but I only know of one team of 3 who has gotten through it. Through.
We get to round 5, and then that's it.
And that's fine.
Dream. We can't get any further than that.
Okay. So is that the way it is? Was that?
That's how it used to be. We haven't tried the 3 minutes since.
Okay, so wave between wave 5 and wave 6, it went from 385 to 400. Now it's going to be 385 all the way to wave 7. So now you probably should be able to do that, Sassi.
Yeah.
If you were getting to wave 5.
It's going to be difficult. I mean, we were hecka coordinated. I mean, I was tether and tractor cannon, and then we had melting point, a second tractor cannon, and then we had snipes. And we were like all stacking void.
Yeah.
And we didn't have a Titan because rip Titans, because they don't have any good void stuff. And it was struggle, but like, it was hard. It was struggle busing. Look, I'm sorry, man. Sentinel is just not a good PvE class. Like, no. Unfortunately.
Okay, so you were able to get to level 5 before with 385s.
Yeah, and we would have to be really coordinated in what we did in the times of, like, do we do boss damage now or do we clear ads?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then we were like coordinating as well as like grenades. It's like, okay, we're gonna do nade damage now, so we get a quick tractor cannon off, throw nades, go back to killing ads to try get supers or whatever.
Okay, cool.
And now I feel like maybe we'll be able to do it. But from my point of view, a lot of people were complaining that you couldn't do 6 or 9 man, like 5 teams for Escalation Protocol, and people actually liked the fact that it was 400 light level for Wave 6 and Wave 7.
It was a matchmaking issue, right? Not really a difficulty issue.
And in my eyes, it's like, it's either you wait 2 months for them to get the right coding in for 9-man fire teams and go through all the testing and make sure it works on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC, and then just weather the 2 months of hate that you're going to get from Reddit or Bungie forums, or you lower the light level now, make it possible, and then maybe in the future you introduce, maybe with year 2 stuff coming out, you introduce, here's a 6-man fire team, hey look, we're going to ramp the absolute living shit out of Escalation Protocol back up. So now you're even going to struggle with a 6-man of hella coordinated people, you know?
The other thing that this is part of.
That it wasn't possible. Apparently they said that 6-man, like, I don't know. So I was listening to
with their current engine encoding, that's what I mean. So either they have to make a complete change to the engine, which is going to take forever.
I mean, I do want to see more people in public spaces. I really do.
Is it a complete change to the engine? Because you can have 9 people in now. Like, we've said this before. Now none of us are fucking game developers, but like, we can get 9 people into the Hellas Basin instance, and like the lower instance on Mars. So why wouldn't we be able to queue up as a 9-man instance into that area only, not to any other area, but to that area only?
I think there is a specific issue with that. I think that's what they address. I think one of the engineers said, like, we hear you, and it like seems to make sense. Like, if you can get 9 people, and why can't you just queue, a team of 6? And I think there is something specifically stopping them from doing that.
You know what I think it is? That if they open the floodgate, that you'll be able to take fucking 9 people everywhere that you can only take 3. I've got that feeling that there's some kind of stopgap measure, and there'll be fucking 9 people in strikes, 9 people in fucking, you know what I mean?
And now just imagine this now, faction rally, 9 sparrows racing towards you to push like 9 dead orbits.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
come full circle. 9 dead orbit dead shits just pushing you off the edge into the ocean.
Yeah. I believe if I had to hazard a guess, and this is coming from someone who knows very little about games development, because I always defer to my significant other when it comes to stuff like that. You could load 6 people into Bolted Glass, and you used to be able to go around Venus as a 6-man, but you couldn't do patrols. So maybe it's patrols and in trying to organize that items stays the same between the whole 9-man fire team that could just cause the netcode to spaz itself up.
Yeah, that's
spaghetti code madness. I don't know.
Maybe. I think the important thing with this is though, like the thing to take out of escalation protocol and the fact that they've done this is that they wrote into it the ability to be able to do this on the fly. Like, this wasn't okay, in a week and a half we're going to drop an update and it'll change the light levels. This is like, it was done when the release was. Yep. It's now. We wrote this in. We knew that this was something that, it was hard. We launched it hard. It was as we intended, but maybe we made it too hard. We have the ability to change it on the fly. And I think that kind of thing is probably something we need to see more of. Like, that on the fly balancing kind of thing. We're never going to see it with the entire sandbox, and bringing it back to Crucible Labs and all that sort of stuff. I don't think that would be a particularly healthy place to be anyway. Like, so much of what they've based their previous balances on has been massive amounts of data as to what people are using, how they're killing people, everything like that. And I honestly think that is always going to be more reliable than listening to what people have to say, because the people who have something to say are normally the people at 2 ends of the spectrum, right? Where the data encompasses everyone. So
exactly, and Mylan will know this more than probably anyone here. If you are satisfied, you're not going to give feedback.
Yeah, this is like classic research bias, right? With your sample.
Yeah.
If you ask people to do a survey, who fills out surveys? People that are really happy or people that are really fucking upset? Everyone in between is missed out. Like, it doesn't matter like what you're researching. If you're a game development company, if you're doing health research, the only people that fill shit out either really happy or really upset.
So that's the thing. Like, put that in the context of them asking for people's impressions of Showdown and this week in Crucible Labs. They're going to get the really happy people, the really shitty people, but they're going to look at the numbers and go, okay, well, guess what? Not many people played it this week. It was clear that there was a huge percentage of people didn't enjoy this particular game type or whatever, or there was heaps of people playing it this week. There were, people were playing it for long periods and all that sort of stuff. There's hard numbers they can base this shit on without having to canvass for opinion. I just think that this is a way. This is more an engagement thing than a real, like, it will shape. It will based on people's opinions. They'll reshape. But it's the game.
Also, I believe it's also a statement to say, hey, look, we're working on the game like we're trying to update the game as quickly as possible, get changes out, instead of what everyone's getting shitty as. It's like, hey, look. Here's a new DLC. All right, we're not going to touch the game for like 3 months, but we're actually making a lot of changes. Since we're not actively updating the game every 5 fucking minutes, someone on Reddit's not going to be impressed about that, and they say, okay, we want changes and we want them now. Not like,
I mean, that's the thing, is that sometimes these game developers, and namely here Bungie right now, they pay attention to the very vocal minority instead of
I think else. I mean, and that is it's a path that's fraught with peril too, because this is exactly what people are complaining about with escalation protocol. They're saying, the streamers ruined the game, because you know what, they're the vocal minority. And
I'm a streamer. I'm a streamer. I'm enjoying the game. Go fuck yourself.
I'm enjoying the game.
Do you know, like, what? This is not true, but this is what the super cynical part of me, like the maniacal Bungie cynical part of me thinks is like, the summon is good, but do you know the best thing to do is like have streamers empathize with Bungie by reflecting feedback onto them rather than us. Like that's what better way to make streamers empathize? But like, hey, we invite them to the summit. When it's shit, everyone blame them rather than us, and then they'll understand what we go through every day, and then they'll have more empathy about our game.
So for one grand sweep, we're going to make streamers and content creators the scapegoat for everything that's going on, and then they will be from that point onwards. We'll be like, no, I know what it's like to be on the end of mass hate. I'm going to be a bit more supportive.
Look, that's totally not true, right? But like that
sure,
was
man.
Like the maniacal part of me was like, you know what? Well played, Bungie. You've done it. You've done it.
We just dodged a bullet.
You've dodged a bullet. Blame streamers.
All right.
You know what though? Blame me because I'm not part of any of the game. I'm not part of any of the way that I'm not part of the development. I'm not part of Bungie or anything like that. I love the game, and if you want to have a chat to me about it, I'll have a chat. Come and have a chat with me about it. But if you are legitimately one of those people that goes into streamers chats and just goes, Bungie's dead, you're fucking shit, you're a shill, rah. Legitimately, you are not welcome in any of the channels that stream Destiny on the regular. Like, I'm not even going to be an asshole about it. You are not welcome in those channels because no caster wants to look at their chat and go, Destiny's dead, and it's just like, oh my god, just grow up. Just fuck off and grow up. Yeah. Uppercut yourself in the mirror, like legitimately.
All right, hang on. We've got
I'm
something
pretty
quite
sure that
important to
me
discuss
and
too.
all 3 other people playing competitive will agree with you that Destiny is a dead game. Please, I want more people in PvP. I hate running into the same groups. Like,
you know what?
Every night.
You know what? Just get worse at the game. For a month, I want you to do something for me, Sass. For a month, don't pick up a controller without being fucking hammered. And then, in a month's time, your skill-based matchmaking will be so shit that you'll then be able to find matches straight away like I can, like all the peasants can. It's not that there's not many people playing. It's not many absolute fucking freaks playing, right? You and your fire team of dudes who are bred in fucking test tubes to kill people in the Crucible. I've got no empathy.
It's not my fault people don't know how to aim.
Right. Okay. All right. Now did the comic go live, Matt? Is that a thing?
Yes, it is. I read it, but I didn't read the first one, so
that would have made zero sense.
Yeah, I'm like, hello, she is underwater. Okay.
I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I'm totally fine if you want to discuss it, Matt, because that's my bad. I had to go to Nepal.
Look, I think the comics didn't seem to reveal. This is my impression of the comics. They don't really reveal any new lore, but they're mainly there to develop a character. So this is all about like developing Anna Bray. So I've only read it once. I only read it this morning whilst having a coffee. And look, there's nothing that was like, oh my god, like something that jumped out. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's like a video worthy, but like there was nothing awful about it. And I was like, oh, that's nice character development. That's nice to know a little bit more about Anna Bray. That's nice to see, maybe why she makes some of the decisions that she makes. It's nice to see that she was having this adventure whilst, Gaul attacked the Traveller. There wasn't any big aha moments in there, but it seemed good. So
seems good.
Yeah.
Well, on the flip side of that, the Nascent Dawn quest this week, when you find out that Anna Bray is adopted, why my jaw was just like on the floor.
Hold on. Where did you find that out?
Nascent Dawn, quest 4 or 5. When you get the Polaris lance and you put the data thing in to get the memory fragment, you find out that Anna Bray is adopted.
Hold on, but that's that little fragment you get from...
The memory fragment, yeah, when you put it into the terminal.
I've read all those memory fragments.
It's not that one. It's the lore. Sorry, I'm retarded. It's the lore on the Polaris lance. When you press E to show lore, it talks about Anna Bray. She's making the Polaris lance, and she doesn't believe
this
that
one
she
says
is
most
worthy of
people
making a.
Consider a broken weapon a birthday present.
No, it's the next one. Hang on, one sec.
Okay. Okay, so obviously I've only seen the legendary lore tab. Do they change between them?
Yes.
Okay, I have not read this. Please,
All right, give me like 2 minutes. I'm actually just going to load up Destiny right now.
All right. Well, what we might do in the meantime, while we find this morsel to dig into, is open some questions up from chat. If there's anything particularly pertinent that you want to ask us or get our opinion on, Sassy's here. His beautiful pineapple will be hidden behind the chat box, but he's not going anywhere, and I'm not hanging up on him, so don't worry about that. But yeah, if there's anything you want us to discuss, anything you want to bounce off us, go right ahead.
Honestly, the way that I just want to reference the state of the game at the moment. I have been playing Destiny this week pretty much non-stop. Not actually doing anything in particular, not raiding or trialsing or anything. I've just been playing. Just been running around doing PvP, doing like the lost sectors and just public events and all that sort of thing.
Have you been doing nightfalls? Have you been grinding for the nightfall drop?
Okay, so
let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
The nightfall drop is bugged. That's bugged.
Is
it's
it?
Not, yeah. So I tried to solo the prestige. Sorry, I did solo the prestige nightfall.
I see you doing that, dude. Kudos to you, man. That's not easy. That boss is just penis.
Yeah, I didn't have any negative modifiers on my challenge card, so it was just heavyweight and void, I think it was. But yeah.
Okay, so because I saw people grinding it on the Tuesday, so obviously then they worked out that it wasn't dropping. Is that what's happened?
Yeah,
dropping.
It's just not dropping. There's some sort of issue with it. It's just buggered up, which is a bit of a bugger, but you know what? It'll come back around.
Because people were doing that, man. People like that was good to see. Like people grinding stuff out to like get a drop. Like that was nice to see that kind of stuff.
It is that strike too. Like you get DFA out of it, the hand cannon. And it's a gun of a hand cannon. It is a beast. So. It's this was always the week they were going to notice if they did have an issue with it, where I think in previous weeks where there's like the Sparrow drops or whatever, I don't think people would have been so put out by it. But I guess it's one of those perfect storm things where, this issue's come up right at the worst possible point. But, man, they're addressing it, and I'm sure that, there'll be some kind of recompense, I imagine. There's people saying, I did 88 strikes and it didn't drop. I'm like, fucking hell.
You know what? That's just people not managing their time well enough. Do 10 strikes. If you don't get it, fuck it, try again tomorrow. I need to do all the strikes in the world to get this DFA because it's going to cure fucking world hunger.
It's going to kill an acolyte in one more bullet.
Get your fucking shit in order. Play the game, for goodness sake. But 84 strikes in a row? Legitimately? My God, go pay attention to your dog or significant other or just people in general.
Some pressure.
Destiny is my significant other.
Fucking neckbeard.
Matt.
All right, Matt, you ready?
Yeah, hit me.
All right, most people wouldn't consider a broken weapon as a birthday present, but the Brays aren't like most people. Sure, they tell me I'm smart, but they have a closeness, a relationship to the tools and machines they work with that goes beyond words. I never thought they would trust me enough to be a part of that until today. Elsie knows I've been working in the lab, trying to protect the scout rifle designs in secret. I thought she'd be angry that a weapon like this was a Bray project, not something for her adopted little sister. But this morning she surprised me. She handed me the weapon, a smile on her face. She told me she had checked it over, but only I could finish it. A real piece of Bray tech, and it's mine. I feel like I finally found my place. The Brays are more than just scientists. They're my family.
Okay, I have read that, and I've got it in front of me. And for some reason, every time I scanned it, I just skipped over that three little words, adopted little sister. I don't know why. I skipped over that every single time. I just scanned it. Yep, that's that's not a useful card, and I just put that into my useful non-card pile.
Good job.
Oops.
Alright.
Oopsies.
Regret.
All right, we'll take a question from chat. One from Gamma, good friend of the show. Mylan's art monster that he keeps locked up in a basement and feeds him. I don't know. Matt, you don't have to answer this if this is something that is complicated for you because of the community side. I don't know, but ideas the next expansion ideas. Who's the enemies? Will Sweeper reveal his karate training? What do we get? I guess Gamma's point is what will we see? I'm not sure. What
Okay,
Matt,
so people have already asked me this. Like I've already got DMs from people go, like, yeah, but seriously, fucking tell me, like seriously. And I was like, look, we didn't fucking play any of the September story at all. I do not know what is happening in the September story, so I can just guess like the rest of everyone. Considering it's the Reef, I'm suspecting it will be Fallen based, and I think people are ready to go back to the Fallen. I think when House of Wolves came out, we got so much lore about the Fallen, but lore wasn't really big then. Like that was actually my first lore series with House of Wolves, and from memory back in that time, I think I might have maybe got 4,000 views on those, like over that series. So, it's nothing compared to like how many people consume lore now, and they have like, not many people know this, but like they released like a Book of Sorrows for the Fallen during House of Wolves. It's called you had to hunt down the Fallen, and you got like a book chapter each time, and that was the whole Reef Wars story, and all about Skolas, and the main characters were all pretty much Fallen, and the Queen came in there as well. So a lot of people probably missed out on that during that era. So I think a Fallen themed one would be cool to come back to, because a lot of people identify with the Fallen because of their relationship with the Traveler and how they sort of mimic humanity as well. So I
think they'd just make a great raid. I mean, I argue with Aura all the time whether Vault of Glass or what's the
Machine?
Wrath of the Machine is the best raid. I just reckon Fallen make a great
Wrath of
enemy.
the Machine was really fucking good, man. I always forget that raid was there. I don't know why, but that was a really good raid.
They're such a good. They're like in terms of like they're like the show pony enemy. They're like the enemy of the Guardians.
This is the thing.
I
think all of the races and all the enemy races in Destiny are really good. Like, okay, the Hive, there are opposites, right? They started with the darkness, essentially. The Fallen are our human counterparts. They're like a peering us into the future, like what would have happened if the Traveler bailed on us when the darkness approached, right? So they're that. The Vex, are trying to control time. And the Cabal, in my opinion, had always been the most boring enemy race. But, they have a really interesting backstory now with Callus, the Empire, the Red Legion, and what Callus has done with the Shadows of Callus. So they're definitely making a sort of a comeback in my mind from an enemy point of view of being interesting. But, a lot of people like the Fallen as well. I think that'll be a choice. Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be really interesting how they tie it in, because I think it could go one or two ways, because part of that whole Aldrin and, raising an army of Fallen, it doesn't sound that far-fetched, right? Like, I mean, I think we all agree that leak is probably bullshit, but, I mean, we've already seen it with, what's his name, the creepy dude in the Reef, the Fallen, oh my God, I've gone blank.
Barracks.
Yeah, like we've seen a Fallen change sides. He's changed sides.
Yeah,
we could see it
House
again.
of
We could
Judgment,
fight.
wasn't that?
We could fight alongside them. We've seen NPCs in game. In Destiny 2. I mean, fair enough, they were pretty heavily scripted, but it wouldn't take too much to imagine that they could do that with some kind of Fallen. Like,
do you know what? I want to fight alongside some NPCs. I think that would do a huge amount for storytelling. Like, and I think, look, I've only ever played like Halo 1, but I think you do that quite often in Halo, right? Like, you get a mission and you've got like an NPC buddy, whether he's just a grunt, Marine or whatever, or wouldn't it be cool to be charged into battle with like Fallen next to you?
The other thing,
mumbling along in like Fallen language, like that would be. I think that would do a lot for like characterization in game, is to actually partner up with NPCs for missions rather than you just like bolting through and like just skimming over stuff. Like actually have an NPC that you develop some sort of dialogue with, whether it's a Fallen character. I mean, that would be amazing if you had an NPC Fallen character that like you allied with for a number of missions. That would be so cool for.
But see, this is where I
drawing that link with like the Fallen being humanity's like alternate timeline where the traveler basically left us.
Yeah. So this is where I get sad because I wish there was so many more. There's so many opportunities in Destiny that I wish it was less linear, because I would totally like to join the Shadows of Callus. I would ditch the Vanguard in a heartbeat, to be honest.
If it went full MMO and you could join a fucking guild, you'd join the
I would
Shadows
ditch
of
the
Callus.
Vanguard and I would be a Shadow of Callus, and then I would ditch them at the start. I'd be like using people just to better my own sad awoken hunter's existence.
I was going to say there's some direct parallels there with that in real life, but anyway, that's a bit. I think the other thing that having an NPC in a mission does is it removes that that kind of stagnant ghost voiceover that everyone's trained to ignore now. Like you don't pay all that much attention to what your ghost bubbles on about through missions because it's persistent, it's there all the time. But if you had a character that was explaining things about the mission, or like what. We're facing this adversary, or we need to do this to get into this room, or something like that. And then inside that dialogue is telling you things about who they are, or where they come from, or their history, or whatever. It's another way to give people a bit of backstory, a bit of, a reason to invest in the characters to begin with.
And it makes the universe seem more filled other than just being hubs of social spaces, and then you just get sent on errands by yourself.
Can you imagine if you went into like a public space and you saw like a Fallen Guardian, a Dark Guardian, a Shadow of Callus Guardian? You're like, oh my god, like this is dope.
Yeah.
Like, all these different people from like different factions like running around, and like their armor and their weapons all sort of suit that theme. Like that would be. Yeah. I would love to have to make some of those decisions and like it impact the game that you play as well. And you know what? I don't know. Like, do you remember when Kentucky were like, "Oh, we saw Destiny and we saw the new conversation wheel"? Do you remember that? That was in a fucking article.
What?
Destiny at some point had a conversation wheel.
But our Guardians are mute.
I know.
Just right? all of the options were ...
Occasionally.
The fact that our Guardians are mute just makes me so freaking sad, man. They could have had.
You know what?
They could have had so many voice actors come in and just record lines, and it would be cool.
I can see both sides of it, because the one thing that I hate in video games is when I'm playing and the character I'm playing as is a fucking douchebag. Like Call of Duty, when it's all the hoorah American bullshit, and fair enough, maybe you like that, but for me, it's just kind of like. I get over it in about 1 minute, and then I have to sit through an entire game of listening to all that sort of carry on. It's fucking punishing. So part of me is like, our Guardian probably shouldn't talk mission to mission, but it would be nice if they were conversational cutscenes or something like of that order.
I just wish you could change the freaking voice of your ghost.
I would absolutely have Peter Dinklage back in a heart.
I'd have Dinklebot. I don't know. Would you pick Dinklebot or Sagira?
No, Dinklebot. Sagira her voice lines just make me cringe.
I wonder what Anna Bray's ghost sounds like.
Can I have fail-safe?
It doesn't have a voice. No.
I don't have fail-safe. Just giving me bad advice all the time. Not trying to help me at all. I'm on fire. All right. Well, I don't know. Have we talked ourselves to a standstill yet, or what?
Yeah, more or less.
More or less.
I'm currently scouring the internet because I actually think they removed that article, but I'm finding my original notes about the dialogue wheel, because I'm pretty
Well-
sure I have a link to it in my notes when I first.
Maybe the $100 million investment from the Chinese company is a sign that they want to grow Destiny 2 into something that may battle, that is intended to battle with something like the likes of World of Warcraft, but from a first-person shooter perspective. Because if they did that, that'd be awesome.
I think to think that they're not trying to do that is naive, and I think that, you know, I understand people are very defensive of Destiny. They love the game, and part of me applauds the passion for them, you know, being defensive the second that they see something that could come along and, you know, take something they love away from them. But when you consider the fact that it's big business and big money, and they've already got this established IP that they now have a pathway into China, which is one of the biggest markets in the fucking world, if not the biggest. If they can get it in there and make it a success, which may or may not happen, I don't know. But for the love of God, fuck, they're going to have a lot more capital, and they're going to have a lot more, you know, they're going to be able to put on another however many people, whether they're making another game concurrently or not. And I think that, you know, that's the great success of Blizzard and World of Warcraft. And, you know, you look, they had that expansion pack that was all fucking pandas, because it's massive in China. It's enormous,
Dude,
and that's the
imagine
biggest part of their
freaking-
fucking money, like their money pool. It's crazy.
Imagine Blizzard animated shorts, but Destiny themed.
Well, I mean, there's the link with
like-
Activision and Blizzard. Well, Blizzard Activision is there already, and you know, you play Destiny on PC through the Blizzard launcher. I hope that the barriers continue to be broken down, and I would love to see them. I would love to see Destiny become something of that ilk. I think it could expand into something absolutely fucking incredible. But, you know, that's just pipe dreams. I'm sorry. For me at the moment, I'm worried about the here and now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just think like it's a good move. It's a smart move. You know, as long as it works out well for the both companies involved. You know what? As long as it doesn't draw away from Destiny, the 10-year plan and otherwise, I think most people would be okay with it. You know?
I think everyone's darkest fear is that it's going to turn into an ODST Reach deal, where Bungie wants to do their own thing, and Activision's like, nah, you got to finish this off. So Bungie half-asses the rest of the things just to get the contract done.
Are you high?
I think
ODST and Reach were fucking great games.
Yeah, no,
short
I'm not
games,
saying that they weren't. I mean, I'm not saying that they weren't, but they wanted to split, so they wanted to finish off at 3, and then Microsoft were like, no, you have to do 2 more. So that's how Reach and ODST became a thing.
Fair enough.
All right.
I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day,
that's
we're going to get
everyone's
another
darkest
fucking game.
fear.
out of it,
Whether
so
that's
stop
actually
carrying
true,
on.
I don't think that's true. I think they like Destiny too much.
I think in regards to Bungie and people saying, it's bad for business and this, that, and the other. Bungie have so much invested in the Destiny franchise, and so many people are invested in the Destiny franchise. I don't think they're going to get rid of it. I really
No,
don't.
I don't.
They
Look,
the only thing that will kill the franchise if the very dudes at the very top go.
Look,
That's it.
This is like, I don't think so either, but to be devil's advocate, right? Just to play the other side of the coin, the first thing that comes to mind for me is Epic Games, Paragon, and Fortnite. Okay, so two games were Epic Games. Paragon closed doors, and that was in a very different position than Destiny. That was still in beta. Or was it fully released? I can't remember. I think it was still in beta, Paragon.
Paragon,
Anyway,
I think, no, it was fully released.
was
No,
it
it
fully released?
was beta. No, it was beta.
Paragon was in full release.
Was it
Paragon
full
was in
release?
full release. Yes,
Okay.
it was.
But anyway, like,
But Paragon
The
also
massive
didn't have
success
the
of,
player
like-
base. either.
no, exactly. But I get, look, once again, like, this is just playing extremely devil's advocate, right? You got a company, they have one game that's struggling, and they have one game that just fucking kicks a home run. It's a home run. I just combined Australian with the US. Kick a goal.
Kick a home run. It's football.
It's football. Kick a home. You know, and they're like, well, it doesn't make sense for us to pour resources into something that's not doing that well. Now, there's
Yeah.
all these differences between that, but like, let's be devil's advocate. What if they made something that was just the next League of Legends, the next fucking World of Warcraft, the next whatever, right? Like, that would be something that could threaten Destiny, don't you think?
But I believe, I mean, and then to play devil's advocate, I believe Bungie knows that Destiny could be the next League of Legends, the next World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Because it's in the unique position right now is that it's the first person shooters equivalent of those kind of games, and it's kind of really the only one that has managed to survive.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
it's teetering on the edge where it could either blow up or just fizzle out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I play devil's
just in regards to the
advocate?
Go on.
Before you play devil advocates, if
Devil,
Bungie ever
yeah.
released a 100-man battle royale, I would fucking quit
just
Destiny.
hey,
I would quit Destiny. I would quit the podcast. I will quit Destiny. I will quit the podcast. I will remove Destiny from the entirety of my
what
game
Bungie-
library.
And
What
you'll
Bungie
stream
would do
nude
is
until
take a
you
page out of
get
Halo
banned by
5 and do
terms of service.
Warzone.
I
Bungie will do
would.
Warzone before Battle Royale.
Warzone,
Warzone's gold
Warzone I'm okay with, but I swear to God, if Bungie release a battle royale, I'm out.
But just imagine,
I'm so goddamn sick of battle royales.
Can I play devil's advocate now?
Yes.
If Bungie come out and release a game that is taking the world by storm, just play that. You get so butthurt about shit for? It's a fucking video
true.
game.
the
true.
anthem, boys.
Chances are, right now, the three of us have more invested in fucking Destiny than you, and we're not worried about it. So don't worry about it. Look at Matt.
Mylan is now a Anthem Law YouTube channel.
Who do I need to tweet at? Who makes Anthem? EA.
Or BioWare, yeah.
BioWare.
Don't do it,
Watch
mate.
out.
All right. Well, I think we might wrap up there. Slothy, if you want to do the traditional sloth wrap up.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, queries, doubtful points, put them in the chat, the comments below if you're on YouTube. If you have any questions from watching the live stream, please tweet at us at RealTimeSloth, at Mylan Games, at LogPowerSlave, or at ImSassi with 3 S's. You're sure to get an answer. Or you can tweet the podcast at DDU Podcast, which is basically the same as tweeting Log because he runs the Rock Show. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been an absolute pleasure. Sassy, thank you very much for coming on and
Thank
chatting.
you for having me on, dude.
That's all,
been a
all that
pleasure.
sort of thing. It's always been really, really, really good. Yeah,
It's turned into Lumberger.
legitimately,
It's
guys,
been really good. Yeah.
if you guys have like I said, if you have any questions, queries, doubtful points, please let us know. And like, we're not going to bite, but if you do come into any of our chats and just go, Destiny 2 dead game, I will ban you.
I mean,
I'll
honestly,
agree with
if,
you.
If anyone has made it an hour and 42 minutes into a
I
Destiny 2
doubt.
podcast to hear that piece of advice, and they're going to jump into your, you know what, you probably baited half of the people that watch this to just go, I'm going to do it just to see what he does.
Jib baited. All right,
Go and
ladies
find out,
gentlemen.
people. All right, cheers. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Fish.
Bye.
No.
The
law
pineapple
doesn't-
will find
Where
you.
is the law? Do you still do
The
the law?
pineapple will find
Mate, the law is everywhere. It's like-
The Lord's being brushed over because someone can't read 3 words.
Oh, right. We're moving on.
you. Okay.